Hello everyone, welcome to William and the Magic Box. Today on our show, we are going to have Ramuel. Ramuel is from New York City in the USA. So let's see what Ramuel has to say. Enjoy the interview. Hello.
Hello.
Hello Ramuel, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you so much. Thanks for taking the time for the interview.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Am I saying your name right, Ramuel?
Yes, Ramuel.
Ramuel. Ramuel, tell me where you're from.
Well, I grew up in Florida, Gainesville, Florida. So it's like north central area, kind of between Jacksonville, Orlando. And after that, lived in Atlanta for about 7 years. And then now I'm in New York.
And why New York?
Well, I had my sisters were here before. They went to school at FIT, and my job had just ended in Atlanta, and I couldn't really find anything else. And I was starting to, do some freelance photography, kind of part time, and people liked my work. And it was kind of, it's pretty good, I would say. And so I thought, well, there's an open space in my sister's apartment in New York, and my job's just ended. I have nothing else really here. Not finding any work here. Why don't I try to go to New York and see if I'm good enough for Atlanta? Let me see if I'm good enough for New York. And so I figured to give it a shot, take a chance. And now here I am 3 years later.
And what's the best part of living in New York, in your opinion?
I like the diversity and the variety. I like that there's art everywhere. There's museums, there's food, there's bars, you can walk. It's very accessible with public transportation. Those are my favorite parts of the city.
I see. And what do you do for a living, Ramuel?
Freelance filmmaker and photographer.
Tell me a little bit about your job.
Yeah, well, pretty much I'm doing, I do a lot of photography, usually sessions outside with families. I do some studio portraiture. I do a lot of video editing for clients, and on my own, I like to write and direct narrative short films and web series. Trying to write my first feature now, so that's the next project I'm working on, which is exciting. It'll be a big undertaking, but I'm looking forward to it. That's pretty much, what I do for work.
Amazing. Well, right. So just before we start our journey, really in the Magic Box, I would like you to tell me something interesting about yourself.
Interesting. When I was younger, I wanted to be a roller coaster designer or a ride designer, like those Disney Imagineers. Yeah, that was one of my favorite things.
I see. And all your family are back in Florida?
My parents are in Florida, back home, and my sisters live here. So one lives with me. Actually, we share the apartment, and then the other lives in Jersey.
I see. Very good. Are you ready to go on a beautiful journey through your memories in life and to share your point of views?
Yes.
Welcome to William and the Magic Box. So I have here my lovely box. Full of random fun questions, okay? I'm just gonna play a song now just for us to move a little bit before the first question.
Okay.
Good, let's do it. Right, so before I start the game, Samuel, if there is a question for the game that you don't have an answer for, you don't want to answer, always can change, okay? It's all very friendly.
Okay.
First question for you is, who is your biggest hero?
Ooh, biggest hero. I mean, at the moment, I guess I would say Steven Spielberg, just because, the way he's changed the landscape of filmmaking and the way his films have changed culture and shaped, not just my upbringing, but my generation's upbringing. I think that's very fascinating that he could have such an effect with, by doing what he loves. And that's something that I strive to do, is to affect, change culture and change the world with, what I do. That's kind of my goal.
And what's your favorite movie of Steven Spielberg?
I'd say, ooh, I was gonna say Schindler's List. That's like the serious one, but I think Jurassic Park would be like the fun one. I love Jurassic Park.
Yes, for sure. I love it as well. Next question. Next question for you is, which talent do you wish you had?
The talent of networking, being an extrovert. Yeah, because I'm very introverted, and there's time I feel like people can connect to other people easily, and like connect with each other, and I have to like work at that.
And what do you do to, what's the mechanism that you use to get yourself more, let's say, more relaxed about that?
The biggest, I'd say humor. I learned to kind of channel the nervous energy that I have and kind of using it into a humorous way to connect to the other person and to kind of also not just diffuse my nervousness and anxiety, but also to hopefully diffuse theirs and kind of makes it easier for both of us, at least that I found so far.
And do you think that the job that you do, be a photographer, a filmmaker, do you think that helps with that?
Yeah, it's yeah, definitely. When I'm photographing people, a big part of it is, a lot of them are sometimes like there could be their first time in front of a camera, and or they're unsure about how to pose and they're nervous about their body and how it looks. So a lot of times I have to find a way to, keep them calm and to just kind of take away their nervousness so that way I can get the best photo of them. And I think my job is to capture, I want to capture them the way that I see them, and hopefully also the way that they see themselves, and also how the world sees them. So it's like trying to do all of that at once. And I think using humor to make them relaxed helps in a big way.
Very good. Next question for you. Let's do it. Before the next one, your name is very Spanish. Do you have your background? Your parents, they're from South America, or?
Yeah, they're Puerto Rican, so both of them are from the same town in Puerto Rico. Yeah.
I see. But you were born in the U.S. and being raised there as well.
Correct. Yeah, I was born in Louisiana, and then my parents moved to Gainesville pretty much when I was like 6 months old or so. So I pretty much known Gainesville my whole life. Yeah.
Very good. Next question for you is, who makes you laugh the most?
Probably my sisters. They are so funny. Like we constantly make each other laugh, and like whenever we're together, it's pretty much trouble. And we always, we say jokes about each other, but also we tease other people, and sometimes, it's sometimes behind their back, but in a fun way. Yeah.
Who is the oldest, the youngest?
So I'm the oldest, and the other two are youngest. I have Daira's the middle one, and then Dariel's is the youngest one.
I see. I believe you guys are very close.
Yeah, our mom raised us to be very close. If we ever started fighting, she'd be like, "Don't fight, no!" Like she would stop it immediately. I mean, my sisters, I think, fought more than I did just because they shared, rooms and everything. So that makes sense. So yeah.
Funny. Next one, let's do it. Next question for you is, what is a significant event that has changed you?
Well, probably the most significant one would be getting into college. Because in high school, like in Gainesville, actually, no, in Florida in general at the time, they had a scholarship called the Bright Future Scholarship, where they basically paid for your college tuition if you went to a school in state. And so I know I wanted to do filmmaking, and there's really only one public school that had filmmaking in Florida, and that was at Florida State University. And they had one of the best, I mean, they still do have one of the best programs for filmmaking in the country. And so I knew if I was going to go to college, it would have to be free 100%, just because my parents, it would be a burden to pay for all of that, and also to pay for, my sisters and the home and everything. So I knew it'd be best if I got it for free, and I knew I had to go to that school because I applied for USC. There's like another schools in Los Angeles and in New York, but I knew it'd be too expensive, for me to live there and to pay for college. So those weren't options for me. So I had to go to this school at this program. That's like that was like kind of like my one shot to, to study. And in high school, like one of the requirements for the scholarship is you have to have a certain amount of good grades, or if you were part of this program called IB, which is International Baccalaureate. It was kind of like an honors program in high school. If you're part of that program, and you passed and you got your diploma with that program, you pretty much automatically would get the scholarship. And so my school in Gainesville, there's one school that had that. And so I had to get into that program, and I had to graduate with, the diploma in order to secure my spot in the school. So I worked very hard, tried to, pass everything, get the diploma and everything. And I did. But I just remember thinking, like, I don't know, just the idea of like, wow, I had to make sure all of these elements were right in order to make my dreams happen. If any of those elements didn't fall into place, I don't know. I still would have made it happen, but it would have been a longer road, and it just would have been a whole different path. So I often look back at that and kind of remind myself, like, you can pretty much do anything, because, look how far you've come, essentially.
That's amazing, Samuel. I think it's very inspiring to know that at the time, as you said, you need to put different elements together, not just one opportunity. They had other things as well to get together. My God, what a pressure you had at the time.
Yeah, it's intense pressure for sure.
But I think as well, at the same time as well, it's good that you went through that, because you appreciate more now, I think, your career. And you know what I mean? When those hard paths come, I think you appreciate a lot more afterwards, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I definitely look back on that, and then, be like, wow, like, I almost give myself no option. Usually if something's too hard, or if something feels too hard or impossible, I'm like, no, you come this far, we can't just quit, because we can't quit now. We have so many years that we've done, and we've gone through, so gotta keep going. There's only one way. Yeah.
Very good for you. I'm happy that the question came along.
Me too.
Next one. Before the next question, Samuel, as you're saying about this beautiful journey as a filmmaker and also a photographer, did you always have the support of your family regarding that?
In a sense, yeah. I mean, they paid for, some cameras when I was younger, and I mean, they even paid for my apartment and in college, and gave me the car to use during the last 2 years of college. And so financially they supported, and, helping that. But at first they're hesitant to me when I told them in college that I wanted to do filmmaking, that I was probably going to pursue that as a career in college. They were kind of like, are you sure? Because they're both in the medical field. My mom's a physical therapist, my dad was a lab technician. But they also, we all sing as a family, and they were very musical, and so so they understood the arts and they understood the importance of it. But they were kind of like, they encouraged me at first to try to do engineering or something more reliable, that I can get a job more easily, which makes sense. They came from Puerto Rico to America, and so they saw stability as a great way to as a good way to survive. And so they were worried that filmmaking would be unstable, which it is. but yeah, I don't know, I loved it. And like once I even tried taking a physics class in high school, and did not I got like a D and did not do well, and I was just not liking it all. And so once they saw that, they were like, okay, I guess you'll do filmmaking. And they still get concerned, but I have to kind of calm, I have to be confident in what I'm doing, to be like, hey, I know it looks tough now, and it is tough, but I believe that I'm going to make it. So yeah, then they support that.
The parents, it's their job to be, you know what I mean, always not worried, but let's say concerned a bit about our future. It's their job. They're always going to be like that. Even though if you follow another career, they would be the same way as well, kind of, protecting.
Definitely, yeah.
Next question is, what's the biggest prize you ever won?
I'd say, I don't know if it's the biggest, but I'd say the most recent and also like the most maybe meaningful or fun surprise one was I did a web series called Roommates Unwanted, like like maybe like 2015 to 2017, and we submitted it to some film festivals, and it got entered into the Miami Web Fest, and we were nominated for best screenplay. So that was fun. We were like, oh, cool. So I went, and a couple of my friends came with me to, and one of the actors as well. We came to Miami to go to the premiere, and to see what would happen. And so we at the awards ceremony, not my family, my parents also came. So it was like all of us together.
Wow.
And the category came up, and they were saying the nominations, and then there's ours, and then we didn't win. And I was like, oh man, it was the only award that we were nominated for. So I was like, oh, I'm not gonna leave now. Just gonna stay and see what happens. Whatever, enjoy the rest of the night. It's okay. And we we were just it was kind of getting towards the end of the night, and the next category was Audience Choice Award, and I was like, well, we're not in that at all, so like whatever, so we're talking about like, should we go eat afterwards, or like you guys go in your car, we can go in our car, we can meet over here. And all of a sudden, and they say the third place and the second place Audience Choice Award winners, and I was like, we're not gonna get first place, so like blah blah blah. And all of a sudden I hear Roommates Unwanted, and I'm like, and I look around, like, did they say our name? And my parents are like, what? Yeah, what is it for? I'm like, is it for us? I'm like, I'm not sure. And I'm looking around, and people are clapping, and everyone's looking around, and I'm like, if I don't see anyone else standing up, then I'm just gonna stand up and then see what happens. And so I didn't see anyone else stand up, so then I stood up, and I'm still waiting. I'm like, is anyone else standing up? I'm like, is it me? Did I say your name? And then I'm like, oh, I guess we won something. And so I start walking towards the stage, and the stairs up to the stage were on the other side. And I was like, well, I don't want to walk through all these tables. And I'm like, I think I can just jump on the stage. I think this should be fine. And my pants were a little snug at that time because they were older pants. And I was like, I'm just gonna fit. These are the pants I brought, whatever, make them work. And then as I was getting closer and closer to the stage, I realized how tall it was. It was a lot taller than I thought. And I was like, oh, these pants are gonna rip. These pants are gonna rip right now. And I was like, I'm just gonna do it, and it'll make for a funny joke when I get on stage. And so I like lift my leg up, and then boom, right in the crotch area, it's like split. I'm like, boom, there's the pants, and but I get on stage, and everyone's like, yay! And then, and I did win I'm like, it's us, right? And like, yeah. And so, and like right when I got the microphone, I was like, oh, thank you guys so much. Yeah, I just split my pants right when I did that step up there, and people laughed, but it was just meaningful because the funny event that happened, but also the fact that we lost, but then we surprisingly won for Audience Choice. And also everything I do, I always wonder, like, this, like, they say to make something that you like, but it was nice to kind of have confirmation, like, oh, I made something that not just my friends and family enjoyed, but like these strangers from wherever voted for that it was it was their favorite show. And so that was very surprising and also very encouraging, that I kind of confirmation that I could write something that was enjoyable to a lot of people.
Oh my God, you're now describing the night, and I was getting goosebumps like my body. I'm like, oh my God, it's still, my goodness, amazing. I think it's amazing how sometimes you're not expecting, and suddenly we have this beautiful prize. I think it's like a double of their emotions together.
It was, yeah, exactly.
My God, amazing. I love it. Thank you. Next one. Next question for you is, tell us about your best holidays. Now you say your best vacation, and why you consider that.
Ooh, yeah, I know. The best one is definitely my 30th birthday, which was March 12th, 2020. So it's right at the COVID time, like right when it's transitioning. I wanted to, it's 30 years old. It's like a big deal here. And I was like, well, I want to, I've heard my 30s are great. So I want to kind of start off nice. And since 2017, I usually travel somewhere for my birthday because my friend encouraged me. And I was like, where do I want to go this year? And I thought, well, you know what? I've never been to Spain, and I know Spain is in, my heritage, and it's part of the Puerto Rican blood and everything. So let me go to, I want to go to Spain. And so I told my mom, I told her, hey mom, I think I'm gonna go to Spain for my birthday, 30th birthday. And she's like, oh, that's great, let's go. And I was like, no, I'm gonna go for my 30th birthday. Like, yeah, let's go. And I'm like, okay, yeah, let's go. And so, like immediately I get a group text for like everyone in the family, like, hey guys, we're gonna go to Spain for Mel's birthday. So like we're all gonna go to Spain. So at first I was like, I just wanted to go alone, but it ended up being a very blessed trip. I mean, she helped plan like the flights and the hotels. So that was nice because I'm not great at planning those. I hate planning. So she got she got that, and I was like, okay, that's good. But when we got there, it was nice because we went to Barcelona first, and then we drove down to Valencia, and we went to Madrid. And I'd never been to Spain at all, and I don't know, just it was beautiful, and it was nice to drive around. It's nice also being with family. Because I think if I went alone, I would have been like lost. But it's nice to have memories to share, especially that's family. So like we still talk about it to this day in these trips. But I remember when we went to Madrid, I wanted to do flamenco. I wanted to see flamenco dancing because I've never seen it before live, and I learned about it in high school, and so we went to like what was considered the best one. I forgot what it's called. I'm sorry, but we went there, got like a little drink, and then the music started, and dancers come out on stage and everything, and like all of us just were still. We were just listening. We were just captivated by the music. And my mom's dad, he was a famous musician in Arecibo. He played guitar, and so we'd grown up, playing guitar, listening to his music, and making our own music and everything. And so when the guitar player started playing, and at one point he had like this solo, we all just like I looked around, and we like after the first song was done, we all were just like wiping tears from our eyes. We were all crying because we were all reminded of my mom's father, and when he passed and everything, because we all went to the funeral together. So I think those memories were kind of brought up, but it's just beautiful to share that kind of musical magical moment together with my family. And yeah, just the city itself, Madrid, felt like all of Spain just felt like I'd been there before. It was kind of like it felt like I'm like I've been here, like I feel like I know this place. I feel like I know, like just like the culture feels natural. It was a weird feeling. I've never been in a place where I felt almost like at home, but I'd never been there before. So that was it's a very cool feeling, and I want to go back so badly. I'm just waiting for like when the things die down, and when traveling is much safer and better, I'm just gonna go back the first chance I get. Yeah, I want to do.
Amazing. And you saying that Ramuel, did you always have back as a child? Did your parents kept the language at home? Can you speak Spanish or not? You're always English.
So I kind of like I actually so they didn't teach us Spanish like they spoke Spanish amongst themselves, and we went to a lot of Spanish churches, and so we grew up listening to the language and we understood it. But my parents didn't want to teach it to us when we were younger, because when we first, because they had experienced, I guess, racism and also, prejudice, coming to America, because I think they both my mom came without knowing English. I think my dad knew English. So she had to learn when she, after arriving, and she had to just learn on the fly and, self-taught basically. And so my parents didn't want us growing up to have like an accent, and then having other people, Americans, asking, like, basically have prejudice against us. So we just grew up speaking English. But in high school, I took Spanish class for 4 years. So I technically know it and I understand hearing it, but speaking it, I still feel like very, very uneducated or I feel like insecure about it. But I want to, like, I need to practice it and get better at it, because I want to, be completely fluent and, bilingual and all that.
Good. Next question. Let's do it. Next question for you, Samuel. Who was your first crush and why?
First crush. Probably, I just remember this girl named Allison in, like, I think 4th grade, probably, or Abby. I think her name was Abby. But she, I don't know, she had these freckles, and she just, like, a small kind of face and like a nice little haircut. I think I was just, I don't know, at the time I was just like, oh, she's, yeah, I'm like, oh, she's attractive, she's pretty and cute. But yeah, but then also, there's like some other persons. I think like when I was like 4 years, I don't know if it's a crush though, but like earlier, there's like someone's brother. I was like, there's something about him that I kind of like. So I was like, I'm like, I'm like, well, this feeling is strange, and I don't know if I'm supposed to have this kind of feeling, but I'm supposed to feel this for the other person. I think Abby's safe, um, but I'm feeling something for that other person too. So yeah, that was definitely had like that kind of confusion, or like I'm like, this one's right, this one's wrong. What's but I don't what's real.
I think all of us, we have those moments we are confused and you don't know. Because I remember as well, I remember actually my first love was a girl. My first love was a girl. And actually, when I think about that, when you are a child or like an early teenager, you see love in a different way. I remember, I remember she was my classmate, and I remember she was sitting for her chair was in front of me, and I remember she had this long hair, and I just loved being around her. We have this connection, and I just loved it when she was around, and I liked talking to her, and it was a very genuine love. It was a very genuine way of having these butterflies, you know what I mean? But of course, I didn't see like a sexual attraction or anything. It was just like this genuine love, to be about her, be around me.
Yeah.
And but it's a tragic story actually, because I have other friend of mine who is evil. I'm still friends with her actually, and one day she said this love, her name is Larissa, and was a girl, and she this case of pencil that we had at the time, like to put our pencils, everything inside, and I made the mistake of writing inside William and Larissa, and I put like a heart. And this evil friend, she asked me, William, can you lend me a pencil? I said, oh yeah, take my, in my thing. And she opened and she saw it. Do you know what she did? She literally stand up in the whole classroom and she said, oh, look, William loves Larissa. William loves Larissa. Oh my God. I didn't know what to do. Even Larissa as well, she was so embarrassed. And actually she stopped talking to me because of that, because she was so embarrassed. And she thought that, you know what I mean? So I think she felt the same for me as well, but again, a genuine way, and I think she felt so embarrassed that she didn't want to be more around me, and she literally broke my heart at the time. Oh my God. Anyway, all clear now. I'm friends with both still, and still when talk about, we laugh about it, but the other one was, and she's still evil actually. She was very naughty. But she made us laugh a lot, like on the situations as well. But I never forget that day. I was like a broken heart. I remember Brian Adams' song as well. I remember the 90s, one of the Brian Adams songs. It was so in love. I was listening to that song, and I just could picture her in front of me. But I was so broken heart because I knew she didn't want to talk to me anymore. So yeah, that's a tragic story. It happened, but now I laugh about it. But at the time, I was like, oh my God, what was that?
Yeah.
Next question. Let's do it. Well, tell me something. When was the moment that you said, okay, I would like to be a photographer and I would like to be a filmmaker? There was a moment or situation in your life that you kind of, felt this passion or this genuinely a way of approaching photography and filmmaking?
It's kind of progressive. I'd say like because I always liked to tell stories when I was younger. Like I'd be writing short stories and write poems in school. And my mom tells me a story that my kindergarten teacher told her that your son's going to be a writer one day. And she's like, oh, whatever, I don't care. No, I don't care. She's like, okay. But and I'm like, she doesn't even know how to write. And she's like, yeah. And so,
Wow.
but I remember at 13, I watched, what's it called? The Matrix. And I was just so fascinated I'm like, how did they do this? How did they make any of this happen? And so like I looked at the behind the scenes and I saw like how they, made the special effects, and I was really captured by it. And I was like, I'm like, I kind of want to do that. I'm kind of curious about doing more of that. And then my friend in Miami, Lucia, she's a great friend of mine. And she had like, her family had this like little kind of toy camera called, it's like Digital Blue. It's like that like little like kid editing software thing. And it was like pretty much a webcam that you could like take off the the stand and like move around and they recorded like 30-second clips or like maybe like 3-minute clips. And she like had it for a while, and when I went to visit her, she's like, oh, I have this new this toy that we make movies with my brothers. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like let's make a movie. So like we made something, and I put it together and I showed it to my parents and her parents as well, and they liked it and everything. It was a parody of The Matrix. And so, funny enough. And so yeah, and so that was like the first movie we ever made together. And every time we got together, we'd always make a film. It's kind of like our tradition. And I loved it. And yeah, at the time I wasn't really considering it. I wasn't like thinking of it as like a career, but I think like those two, like that was like the moment where I was like, I don't know, I'm like, I like this a lot, and I, want to keep doing it. It wasn't until college, no, it wasn't until high school, when I got, because that was around middle school, like 13 to 14 actually, when I was like, I like this a lot. And I knew like in high school, you have to kind of think like, oh, now think seriously, like you're about to go to college. So you have to start wondering, what are you going to do for a career? You have to start choosing something. And I didn't have anything that I was really passionate about. And I was like, well, I'm passionate about filmmaking or about doing this. I know I like to do this, but I'm like, but can you make money from this? Like, or am I good at it? Or is it just me and my friends and my family that like it? Am I good? Because I was like, am I good at this? And in high school, when I went to high school, they had a film class. I think I might have been the only one that I know in the whole city that had one. But I thought, okay, let me join this film class. We had to choose an elective, and that was my elective. So I'm like, well, if the teacher thinks I'm good, then I know that I'm good, and maybe I'll consider, pursuing it, because he'll have an objective, view. He won't, he doesn't care. He doesn't care if I'm good or not. so I did that class, and there was one point I made a film, and it was like a horror film, like a ghost like in the bathroom that like haunts a bathroom at the school. And it was like 10 minutes long. It was way too long. I made it, and I had like special effects and everything. I made that, and then we had to show the whole class our film. So I showed him the film, and then it was quiet, and I'm like, oh, it's too quiet. And then he like looks at the class, he's like, can anyone tell me why that was a good film? And I was like, oh. And I think probably at that moment I was like, kind of confirmed. I'm like, oh, okay, I think I am good at this. So I think I'm gonna try to see if I can do this forever or full time, So I say that was like, so The Matrix inspired me to like really pursue it as far as like learning more about it. And then that moment with that movie, in the film class, kind of confirmed my path towards pursuing it as a career.
Amazing. You say now about Matrix. Have you seen the latest movie?
No, I haven't. My parents watched it, and I kind of heard while they were watching it in the living room, but I was like, I had a feeling it might have been bad, and I was like, oh, I don't want to be ruined. It's too painful. If it's bad, I'll just be so sad and hurt. So I haven't seen it, and I've heard not great reviews, but I'll probably eventually I'll watch it just to be like, let me just, check it out, see what they did.
Next question for you is, what makes you feel discouraged?
Discouraged. Well, being ignored, I would say. It's kind of like a pet peeve, but also it is discouraging. I'd say that, and also people that are like, I guess, being mean or like rudeness is also discouraging. Because I'm like, oh, we're all humans here. Like, there's no need for that. Even though I'm sure I have my days too, but I don't know, when it's like people with bad, like just like mean energy, I'm like, yeah.
When you say about being ignored, like somehow or in a specific way, or
probably I think specifically like if I'm trying to reach out to someone or I'm trying to make my not intentions, but like, I don't know, yeah, I'm trying to reach out to someone and trying to like make a friendship, or want to know like the intentions of someone else, but they don't respond, or if they do respond back, they're like, hey, how's it going, as if like that never happened, or like as if they didn't see my message. I'm like, but you did, like I am here, I'm a person, shouldn't you respond if you, yeah, just respond kindly. Or, I think sometimes, especially like in the dating world here, where it's oh, like I guess ghosting, as they call it, ghosting. I feel like people do that in real life too, not just online, but like in real life. And I'm like, that's annoying. That to me is like ignoring someone. And I'm like, just be honest, just communicate. It's, be an adult about it.
I see. I see your point for sure. Next question. Ready?
Yes.
Let's do it. Before the next question, as you're saying, during these 2 years you've been living in New York, you said 2 years, I can see how much you like it. But of course, there's always a challenge part as well. What that would be in your opinion?
Money. Like, rent is so expensive, and I don't know, like the city, maybe it's always been this way, but it feels like it's I don't know, it's like made for the rich, and it feels like it's becoming more and more of that. Like it's made for, not just the rich, but like the obscenely, impossibly rich. And I'm just like, that's not what gives New York culture. That's not what makes New York, in my opinion. Like it's the artists, it's the people. Like I remember when I first got here, I was like, oh, the city, like it's not like how they portray it in the movies anymore. It's changed, which, it's good that time is, that what do you call it? That it's changed or, evolved or anything, and that crime is less. That's great. But it feels like it just caters to, it doesn't cater to locals. It caters to outsiders, and it caters to, yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. It's that it's catering to outsiders, like as if they don't care about the people that live here. And I'm like, do you not want people to live here? Because without people living here, you don't have a city. So I don't know, just pay attention to people that live here. Do things to help us out. Yeah.
I see. Good. Next question for you is, who do you count the most for help?
Probably my mom. Yeah. Like ask her for advice, ask her for money as well. No, I'm trying not to, but like, like just one time. Um, yeah, I'd say like, yeah, I'm the closest with her as well. So yeah, I'd say my mom count for everything. Yeah, trying to get more independent, which I mean I am, um, but yeah, mom.
I think all the time we come down to our moms. I think they are the safest place that we need to be. Need to
Yeah.
be.
Exactly.
Let's go for another question. Let's do it. Next question for you is, what's your spirit animal?
Spirit animal. I have jokes about that, but I can't remember that. I don't know. I've always loved tigers. Those are one of my favorite animals. But I feel like I feel more like a bear these days, just because they're big and strong and they eat sweets a lot, and they eat salmon. So salmon and honey, which I love both, and also they hibernate, and I'm feeling that this winter. I'm definitely feeling the hibernation. So I think that's my animal, at least this season.
Good one. Next question. Before the next one, tell me, as a photographer, I know it must be quite difficult for you to pick one, but when you think about your, what I mean, your shots that you've done already, which one is your favorite and why?
I'd say, okay, no, I know. I'd say actually, yeah. I did this one, it was like a nude black man, and it was a studio, and it was, he's holding flowers, and he's kind of like, has the flowers hiding the side of his face. That one's kind of special just because that was one of the first ones that I did just film, because that was shot on medium format film. And I was insecure still a little bit, but less so now. But I was insecure about like studio lighting, and with film I was like, am I gonna get the right exposure? Is it gonna look good? Is this the right film stock? How's it gonna come together? I don't know. And I'm spending the money on the studio, and so it's really just a guess. But yeah, I took the photo, and the model, we had, like, when we got into the studio, he had found the dead flowers in the trash can, He's like, oh, someone left flowers here. And so he just picked those up and like used it as a prop. It was completely, that wasn't planned at all. So I think
Wow.
the fact that the flowers wasn't planned and it was a surprise, but I also love the detail in that photo where like the exposure was great, but also the detail where there's some petals fall on the floor. I don't usually like to retouch. Yeah, actually don't retouch pretty much anything. And so I just left those, the way they fell naturally just looks so beautiful. And so I just love the detail of like, these kind of like dying flowers, but this nude person's very vulnerable, but he's hiding his face. There's like the contrast of like dark skin with the white background and the vulnerability with the like the vulnerability of of his body, but hiding his face, but not afraid to show his body, and that kind of contrast. And then just the lines and the shapes and the gradients and the tones and the flower, like the flowers being life, but the petals on the ground kind of dying. So it's all this kind of contrast coming together. Yeah.
Very good. Next question is, what keeps you up at night?
Everything. Mostly. I think mostly just like the fear of not doing enough in life, or not, a better phrase would be like, or better to say it, like I'm not gonna accomplish my dreams, I guess. That's like the thing that I'm like constantly like, whenever I try to go sleep, I'm like, oh wait, I should be writing something. And so I get up and like, oh, I should be editing a photo, or I should write the script, or I should be doing this, or I should do that. So yeah, that's always like, I think like maybe like the fear of death might be the thing. Because like the fear like, oh my gosh, what if I die tonight? Will I have done enough? Yeah.
Do you consider yourself more of a night or a day person?
I would say, well, I used to be more night. I feel like nowadays, I think as I'm getting older, and I say older, I'm like 31, so it's like older, but I feel more tired at night these days. But I still feel like the most creative and kind of productive or most excited at night. So those two are, my physical body is fighting my creative mind. It's the battle that I'm trying to like figure out how to deal with it, how to make them be friends again.
That's why it's keep you up at night.
Exactly. But I think it's, yeah, those two elements are just fighting. I'm like, guys, stop, settle
You're
down.
like,
Let's just sleep.
I have 3 questions left for you, okay? Let's do it. Next question is, what is your what's your funniest memory of your time at school?
And like, there's funny, then there's embarrassing, then there's inappropriate. Which one?
Oh, please show all of them.
I'd say maybe, oh, you know what? No, I got it. This is gonna be terrible, but also great. I'm sharing this with the whole world. In 5th grade, we had to do sex education. And so for our, so we had one day they gave us diagrams of the male anatomy and the female anatomy, at least for the genitalia. But they just gave the boys the male, the penis and on the whole thing, all that entails. And so we had to like fill the blanks. It's kind of like, they're like, wanted you to, they had like a word bank. So and they didn't teach us this yet. So this was like kind of just seeing what we knew about the male anatomy, about our genitalia. And I, as a good Christian boy, did not know anything at all. But I saw that there's one like arrow pointing to the scrotum, and I'm like, something in my spirit just says that that's the scrotum, but I'm also feeling sperm. So I'm like, I'm gonna put sperm. So I wrote in sperm, and then the teacher, she was, after we all filled up the worksheet, she was asking, okay, like, we're like going through the answers. She's like, okay, who knows the answer? Who knows what this is? And then someone's like, oh, it's the shaft. Like, that's right. Who knows what this is? Oh, it's urethra. And it's like, cool. And she's like, who knows what this is? She pointed to the scrotum, and I was like, oh, I'm like, oh, I know this. And like, it's like, and I hardly ever, I hate usually asking, like, I was a quiet kid, so I never like, but this one day I was just feeling confident. I don't know why. I was just like, today's the day I'm going to show everyone that I am smart. There's my hand out, and she's like, she points to me, and I just yell, sperm! And the whole place erupts laughing. Everyone's just like, everyone cracks up laughing. And she's like, guys, kids, settle, like, settle down. This, like, no, this is why we're doing this. We're doing this to learn. We're trying to learn. This is a good space to learn. And the kid next to me just, I was like so sad. I'm like, oh, and I'm like, the kid next to me is like, like, I thought it was sperm too. And then she calls another kid. She's like, how about you? Anyone else know the answer? And oh, no, the kid. And the kid looks at me. He's like, scrotum. I'm like, you are a terrible person. Hate him. His name is Sean. Of course it's Sean, but not against any other Seans that I know. But yeah, so then that was like one of my top embarrassing moments. But that was in like 5th grade elementary school. Yeah.
Oh my God. When you try to be very confident, that's where you get the whole attention.
I know. My therapist is like, oh, that's probably why you're not as confident now. I'm like, thanks. How much is that?
2 questions left. Let's do it. Okay, Ramuel, next question is, what was your best friend's name growing up? And why did you consider this person as your best friend at the time?
Oh, the true answer should be, the right answer should be my friend Lucia, who I've known since I was 4 years old, because we were friends. Yeah, like our parents were friends. And so I think she was like 2 years old or so when I was born, when we met. And so we pretty much, and like we were friends then and we're still friends now. Like I saw her 2 weeks ago. I went to see her in Miami and she lives there. And we like talked about life and caught up and we were sharing secrets and we were basically having therapy. It was supposed to be like a vacation exploring Miami, but we pretty much became like us crying and drinking and sharing life and catching up. And she's like inspirational because she's like a rebel, she's like a rebel and kind of has same upbringing where, growing up in Christian, like in the church and strict rules and all those things. But now she's like, screw that, whatever. I'm like, okay. In a sense, she's, not, but I love her.
You grew up? Yeah. Grew up now? She grew up, she's a woman now.
Yeah, exactly. She's like, I'm a woman, hear me roar. Like, she's like the one where I still see her. Like I've seen her pretty much every year since we've met, and I know we'll be friends, forever basically. So yeah, I would say she's like the best friend.
What's her name again?
Lucia.
Lucia, very good. Ready for the last one?
Okay, yes.
Let's do it. My God, your voice is so calm. Your voice. Yes, let's do it. Yes, let's do it. Next one. But before the next question, Ramuel, people watching the interview, would you like to start a career as a photographer and a filmmaker? What would be your best piece of advice for those people?
Oh, I would say keep writing, keep making films. I don't know. I believe in craft of everything. I know people say, I always hear like, it's about who you know, it's about this and that. But I'm like, those are things I can't control. I can't control who I know. And also who you know can only take you so far. And that's if they decide to help you. They don't always want to help you. And they might not help you all the time. And so I always say like, what can I control? That's like, what can I do to help my own self? And I always focus on the craft, because also at the end of the day, when people see your movies or they see your photos, they're not going to see the story behind it, or they don't know the story. They're not going to know who you know. They're just going to see the work and they're going to judge the work. So I say like, focus on the work, focus on the craft, and get better at the craft, because that's what the real world's going to see, and that's what you'll be judged by, not just now, but in the future will be, the work that you do. So, focus on the craft would be my advice.
Very good point. Last question for you is, what are 3 fun facts about yourself?
I'd say I secretly like to dance, but I don't ever dance like in public. So I'm so insecure about it and nervous about it. I have like trouble like letting go, but like alone in my room, I sometimes dance to my own self in a silly way. I think in another life I would have wanted to be a dancer, because I love moving, expressing the body and everything. I did do dance when I was younger. There are videos of me ribbon dancing, and there's videos of me dancing hip hop at church, and so, which no one will see. So that's great. That's one. 2 more fun facts. I also wanted to be a pastry chef. I love Food Network, and I love those like chocolatier competitions where they do those huge like sculptures out of chocolate, which I'm like, can anyone eat that at all? I don't think anyone can, but I thought those are so fascinating, and I kind of still want to I don't know, I'm like, I would have loved to do that. That would have been fun, but also such a waste of chocolate if no one's going to eat it. Come on, chocolate should be enjoyed. Last fun fact. Um, I love alcohol. Mom's like, no, that's not right. But but I do. I love mixology. Like I love how you can change, like it's almost like chemistry in a sense where it's like they change how you can make syrups, you can make sweeteners, you can make bitters, you have all these different different concoctions that there's temperature, there's ice phase factors, there's the way you can make a beverage using all these different ingredients and how it comes out and how it changes over time and how it gets complex or it doesn't, and how simple it can be. I find that all very fascinating.
Amazing. A lot of fun facts for sure.
I tried to keep it funny though.
Okay, Ramuel, it's not the end yet. Let's play now the word association game, okay? I'm going to give away some words and you just tell one word that comes to your mind. Quick thinking, okay?
Oh gosh, okay.
So, I hope you are enjoying the interview. Before we do the word association game, don't forget to give a like, don't forget to share this video, and also don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Just click on the button right there. Thank you so much and enjoy the word association game. Family.
Love.
Money.
Need.
One word for love.
Mom. Yeah.
Oh, life.
Good.
Sex.
Want.
Politics. Religion.
Okay.
Fear.
Oh, every day.
Oh. Friendship.
Needed.
Desire.
Oh gosh, desire. Roller coasters. Or sex.
Regret.
Sex. No, that's too easy. Regret.
I like it.
Okay, we'll keep it.
It was genuine. It came naturally. Why not? One word for success.
Power.
Wish.
Travel.
Happiness.
Love.
One word for New York.
Fun.
One word for Puerto Rico.
Sunny.
I see. One word for photographer.
I can just see that. I'm like seeing the images. I'm like, what's the word? Art.
One word for USA.
America.
America dream. America dream.
Yeah.
In the last one now, filmmaker. One word.
Ooh. I want to say love again, but like it's like more than love. It's like amor, I guess. Use Spanish for that one.
Very good. Right, let's pretend I'm going to meet your lovely friend Lucia, and I'm going to ask her. I'm going to go for a coffee. I'm going to ask her, tell me the most beautiful thing about Ramuel, and tell me something that he still needs to work on, to improve on. What should say?
This is good because we've talked about this recently. Most beautiful thing about Ramuel, I think she would say that you're passionate. You know what you want and you haven't given up on it, and you're still going for it, and that inspires me. I think that's what she would say. And then what I need to work on, being honest about what you want. Yeah. It was ironic. I go after what I want, but then being honest about what I want. Yeah.
Interesting.
That's therapy.
Sometimes our best friends know ourselves better than us. Sometimes.
Oh yeah. I mean, she's seen me my whole life. She would know.
Let's play now. Ramuel in the Magic Box, and you can ask me a question. But right, you can ask me a question now.
Oh, I'm asking a question. Anything. Okay. I kind of like, what was it like growing up? Where you live, where you are, and all that.
Amazing. So yeah, so I grew up in Brazil. I'm back in Brazil, in the northwest of Brazil, and I was very fortunate that the city where I was born is a very small town. I lived there until I was 12 years old, and from there, when I was 12, we moved with my family to another town, a bit bigger but still small. And from there, I think I left for 6-7 years, and after that, I was living in the capital of my state, Cuiabá. And when I was 18 years old, for 1 year, and when I turned 19 years old, I moved all the way to Portugal. So, yes, I lived in Portugal for 5 years before moving to England, the UK. So I've been here, actually, I've been most of my life in Europe, then back in Brazil. This year, actually, is going to be 20 years that I left Brazil. My God, it's crazy. So yeah, so that's a little bit of my journey, you know. I think it's been a very interesting journey, you know. I've done some, like, let's say, I had so much experience in my life, a lot of mistakes as well, a lot of things that I enjoyed, a lot of things that I'm proud of. So I think life has been a journey, and I'm so grateful that it's funny sometimes how life takes us in a direction that you're not expecting, you know what I mean? I never thought one day live in Portugal. I never thought one day live in England, in London. And we were talking about American Dream, when I was back in Brazil, I had this America dream and live in the US, you know. I think most of our South America people, we have this America dream to go to America and change our lives. And I think that's it's something that I always want to do. Of course, my family couldn't afford, you know what I mean, for me to move to the US. And life gave me this beautiful present of come to Europe, and I'm very grateful for that, because I found my way here, and I'm very happy to be here.
I love that. That's great. That's awesome.
Cool. Thank you very much. Well, did you have a good time? Did you enjoy the interview?
Yeah, that's great. I loved it. I'm glad I did it.
Thanks so much.
I'm glad you reached out. Yeah.
Thanks so much. Thanks for taking the time. I know, you know, nowadays we are so busy with our lives, and I believe that when someone takes the time for us, I think it's a gift. We should be very thankful, because you know, the world is so fast, people, they are so busy. So thanks so much for taking the time for the interview.
Yeah.
But before you go, I would like you to share a positive message or a positive quote, something that inspires in life.
Yes. I would say keep going, don't give up. I think, yeah, that's honestly what it is. Like, tell myself that every day. I'm like, don't give up, just keep going, keep your head up, keep moving forward, keep progressing, keep going after your dreams, keep getting better. Yeah, pa'lante, basically. Yeah.
Absolutely, never stop. You know what I mean? Some challenges will come through the way, but they are part of the journey, and it make a bit spicy as well, and it's good. I think it's all necessary for sure.
Exactly. Yeah. Some negative things come, or seasons change, but that's nature. It's part of life, and we don't let that deter you or
absolutely. Absolutely, and I think that we should be grateful for those challenges as well, because it makes the journey more interesting. And when you look back, you go like, "Oh, I'm thankful that I went through those challenge situations, because it builds us the way we meant to be in the future." I think it's all counts. Everything counts in the end of the day.
I agree. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Okay, keep in touch. Thanks for the interview.
Definitely.
Okay, thank you. Bye, Samuel. Bye.
Bye.
Take care.
So, did you like the show? Don't forget to give a like, to share it, and also don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And if you'd like to be part of the show as well, first, subscribe to our channel, and after that, just go to our website, www.williamandthemagicbox.com, and send us a request saying why you'd like to be part of the show. And I see you there. Bye-bye. See you next time.